I'll start this meeting with a leadership quote, as I always do. This is from my favorite food critic and world traveler, Anthony Bourdain. He says, "Perhaps wisdom, at least for me, means realizing how small I am and unwise, and how far I have yet to go." Tony doesn't have many useful quotes that would be appropriate for safety meetings, but this quote supports humility. We can use this to obtain the mindset of a good leader and a safety conscious role model. We may know a lot, we may seem self aware, we may at times feel perfect and very confident, but we have to keep in mind how far we have yet to go. We will benefit from the experience that our past mistakes constructed. We will benefit from observing and feeling our present state, and also benefit by discovering that we need continual improvements in our forever changing environment. It's like the expression, the sum is greater than its parts. We are responsible for how we react and deal with that quote. We can start by helping others with active listening. It's a way of listening and responding to another person that improves mutual understanding. It is an important step to diffuse the situation and seek solutions to challenges. Empathy. This is the ability to recognize emotions in others and to understand other people's perspectives on a situation. Empathy enables you to see that insight, to improve someone else's mood, and to support them through challenging situations. Courage. This implies bravery, but it's also about compassion, being proactive and innovative, an integration of heart and brain. It's having courage to empathize and engage. Dependability. Well, this is a measure of the availability and reliability of your services. It builds your integrity. Honesty. This means that you are straightforward in expressing the truth without being misleading. This gives the impression of authenticity and integrity, which is essential for true collaboration. Now, last, flexibility. Being flexible shows that you are willing to adapt to a new situation. It gives you the power to influence people around you. Being flexible will support active listening, empathy, courage, dependability, and honesty. If you've never heard of or need a refresher on the Experience Modification Rating, or otherwise known as the Experience Mod, or if you have to break it down to the acronym, the EMR, I'd like to make it comprehensible so that you can articulate to others in conversation the role it plays in protecting our team members and declare the documentation to our clients, and then how it's valuable to our capital here at Airline. Let's make some sense out of this EMR business. I hope my explanation of the EMR or experience modification rate helps everyone understand why it exists and how we use it. So, as an employer, you're going to pay an insurance premium. If you compare a company that has a good rating, a good EMR, and a company that has a bad rating, a bad EMR, they're going to be treated quite differently in this situation. It has a direct correlation in how much you pay in workers' compensation premiums, and therefore a direct effect of your overhead and ultimately the total bid price. So monitoring it regularly is key in reducing your workers' compensation costs. It's also an excellent measure of how your loss prevention and control practices compare to others in your industry. Safety-conscious corporations are refusing to use services of vendors or subcontractors who do not control their experience mod, or have an experience modification in excess of the industry average of 1.0. For example, a company that starts out today will begin with the industry average of 1.0. A company that has been in business for 10 years should have a rating below the 1.0. So if that company has a higher rating, again, they don't have a good safety track record. So people are less likely to select it, and your workers' compensation premiums will be higher. So think about this in the real world with your car insurance. The safer you drive, the cheaper your car insurance is. If you have traffic violations and accidents, well, fork over that money because your insurance premiums are going to go way up, right? The EMR is calculated by the National Council on Compensation Insurance, or your independent insurance agents will advise you where yours can be calculated. In Pennsylvania, it's calculated by the Pennsylvania Compensation Rating Bureau, or otherwise known as the PCRB. And in general, each year, insurance carriers report it to the calculating agency with your class codes, payrolls, and other losses for the last 5 years. The computing agency uses 3 complete years of data ending 1 year prior to the effective date of the rating period. So for example, a rating in 2022 Normally will not use 2021, but will include 2018, 2019, and 2020 in the formula. As you can see, the last mod rate that airline has been our lowest in the past 20 years. So great job by airline. You know, there are plenty incentives for using analytics like the EMR to describe your safety culture. You know, if the numbers keep going in the wrong direction, then it's time to make changes and focus on the corrective actions to make sure you have a stronger efficacy in your safety programs. If you're wondering how the EMR is calculated, I'll show you real quick. So if you're a math nerd, this is your ticket to stimulation. Math can become very confusing for me, so I'll just break it down just as if I was trying to explain it to myself. So number one, it starts with the payroll. So let's say your payroll is $800,000. Your rate per 100 is $8.25. The premium will be $8.25 times $800,000. Can anyone do the math? Probably not, but here you go. It equals $66,000. So if your EMR is 0.80, you times that by $66,000, you'll reduce your premium down to $52,800. Your modified premium reduction is $13,200. Since I need to see this, I'm going to show it to you. Here's a comparison. I like to see comparisons. So a company with a higher EMR will pay higher than you, right? We've established that. So the company that is in the same classification as you goes through the same calculation until the EMR is modified into the calculation. So the payroll would still be $800,000. The rate is still $100 per unit, and at $8.25. The calculation again will add up to $66,000. But now for the bad news. So if your EMR is 1.20, the calculation will compute to $79,200. Okay, that means they're paying about $27,000 more than you. Or if you want the exact number, it's $26,400 more than you if you're a type A person looking for the exact number. So quantifying it on paper makes you think, right? This can make a difference between a winning bid or a losing bid. You know, so again, the EMRs are calculated using a company's accident record for the first 3 of the last 4 years of operation.